I'm Jake.
And I'm Michelle, and we have been to 5 Boundless Life cohorts, right?
Yes.
In 5 different locations now. So we feel like we have the lay of land, but there are some reasons we would suggest not going to Boundless Life. And here they are.
Yeah, sometimes Boundless Life doesn't work for the different families that show up. And we've sort of narrowed down the reasons why it might not work for different families that are thinking about coming. So let's go ahead and hit the top 10.
All right. At number 10 is it's
too expensive.
It is. It's gotten expensive over the years, and I think part of it is when we first started, we were like, man, this is really a good deal, right?
Yeah.
But they've added extra stuff. They've added like really good employees, and they built a strong team. And really what they're doing takes a lot of work, a lot of people, a lot of manpower. And so obviously the price is going to go up, but it includes a lot.
Yeah, I mean, now it's really a worldwide company. They're running businesses in 5, now 6 locations.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is an expensive way to educate your kids. If you compare it though to a private school education, it's probably pretty comparable.
Yeah, and I think it depends. Like if somebody's taking like a 1-month vacation, this is quite cheap for a 1-month vacation. But when you're doing it as kind of more of a lifestyle, and a lot of people that are traveling as lifestyle tend to be more budget travelers, give or take, then it can be kind of expensive. So you do have to figure out ways that you are going to bring in income to pay for it. But like we said, it's, I mean, like a private school education that includes accommodations and includes community. It just has this like all-inclusive kind of feel. Maybe all-inclusive is not the right word, but it has a lot of things included.
So definitely take a look at what the flights are going to cost you. Take a look at the whole Boundless price package and make sure that it fits your budget.
Yeah, because it is expensive. Okay, number 9.
Time zones. So it can be tough to work in different time zones around the world. Some of the time zones that the Boundless Life locations are in the opposite side of the world. Mm-hmm. So it can be very jarring if you're trying to work in those time zones. If you're trying to stay connected to family at home, you got to plan ahead and make sure that you're on the same track for a FaceTime call.
Yeah, it can be hard, but on the flip side of that is that you've actually really enjoyed you're working Eastern time zone in the US, but being in Europe.
Yeah, in the Central European time zone. I love working from Europe because it means I get to wake up and feel like no one's trying to get a hold of me. I have the whole morning to myself to hang out with Michelle, to take the kids to school. It's a really leisurely morning, get to do the activities that the Boundless has planned for us, and then break off in the afternoon to start my day.
Yeah, so it does have its benefits. The hard one for you working on US time zone is when we like Bali. Bali tends to be a hard one for people to work on because it's exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
So that can affect everything. Okay, number 8. Kids missing out on sports, and if you have them in school and you're trying to take them out, or they're at home kind of activities, I'd say is a big one and a reason that people choose not to do Boundless. What would you say about that?
Yeah, it's the reality is you are removing them from whatever their normal traditional routine is, and maybe they're gonna miss a sports season, so they might fall behind in that sport. That might be your big concern. That might be their big argument if you have older kids that are negotiating to what you're gonna do with the next session in your life. So yeah, it is a factor you need to consider. How important is that one season, that one activity, that one semester at school compared to the experiences that they're going to gain, the people they're going to meet, the cultural immersion they're going to have at a Boundless Life location?
Right, and I think that's what most people find is that this experience is worth it. It's worth pulling your kids from school or pulling the kids from sports to have this experience. And a lot of times you open the world to different things, right? And I think some people take their kids out of traditional school and like a little sabbatical, right? And then put them right back in, like no problem. They just talk to the school about it, and it becomes a win-win because it's really a unique experience. And I think for sports the same, like they can find new sports in new countries.
Or even traditional sports. I mean, our son has played soccer in Italy and Greece and Bali and Portugal. Right. So they may have a new experience with sports.
That's true.
At one of these locations.
Absolutely. So that's really a personal thing, whether you feel comfortable doing it, your children feel comfortable. But honestly, I would say like get a little uncomfortable with it because I think the experience is going to be worth it. Okay, number 7, no Amazon.
It's true. When we're in the U.S., I'm like, bring me all the deliveries. I want them all.
It's so bad, consumerism in the U.S. But you know what? There is Amazon in some locations, so this isn't entirely true. But like Greece, I think there was Amazon, but it would take like it's not like your Amazon that you're thinking of where you get the thing the next day. It's like 3 weeks you're waiting for it, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think some of the other locations, they have some delivery stuff, but some of them they don't at all. So you have to...
Yeah, and just get used to, or you need to say, hey, I'm gonna step outside of our normal world. We're not gonna have all the things we have back home. We're gonna try this experience and get whatever's local. We're gonna try the things on this island or whatever place we're living in. And we're gonna just step away from those cardboard boxes that show up on our door every day.
Honestly, it's really, really a nice thing that like sometimes you just step out of what you're used to buying and purchasing and just buy local and less frequently and live with what you have. So honestly, I think it's a plus. But for some people, that might be scary, no Amazon or no types of deliveries in some locations. Number 6.
Number 6 is, maybe I'm not going to get along with the other people. Maybe they're going to be too different. Maybe they're going to be too, maybe I'm walking into a cult. I don't know.
It's true though. I think people think that sometimes. But yeah, I think the worry is that you're not going to have enough in common with people, right? And the truth is what we have found is that honestly, their families are quite different than we are in a lot of ways. There's a lot of families that like we click with right away and they're very similar to us. And there's a lot that are very different. But we all have this like level playing ground that we're all doing this unique experience together, and you bond so quickly in this different way, right? Maybe even more deep way, more meaningful way. I kind of really just like college. Like you all go to college and you find this like common ground, right? And you're there for the same type of reason. I think that's kind of like this experience.
Yes, and some other interesting things are you don't all show up with your personal cars and your personal homes and things. Like Michelle said, the playing field is a bit level, so you don't really, have this disparity between what you have and what I have. It's just everyone shows up for the experience, and everything else is just thrown out.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that so much, but it is a big worry, and so it is a reason maybe not to do Boundless. Okay, so number 5, you are not a great traveler.
If you're not a good traveler, Boundless probably is not a good fit for you because you have to live in another country.
Yeah, and I think that the flip side is that Boundless makes it really easy as far as traveling goes and traveling with kids. I think that's the biggest anxiety-ridden thing, right? People are like, oh my gosh, traveling with kids, how am I gonna do it? And Boundless makes this super easy. That's one of the things that draws a lot of people to it. But then again, you have to kind of deal with your anxiety about traveling first before leaving.
Yeah. You still have to get here. You still have to get on a plane and get here. And so Boundless doesn't take care of any of that part.
Right, and be in a different country, culture, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a valid concern. I will say though that Boundless makes it really easy. Okay, number 4.
We're getting down there. Yeah. Number 4, you're not a people person.
You are not a people person. Okay, so I think this might be like a couple different things. Like introverts still do really well here, right?
Yeah. And it's really common that 1 out of the 2 people in a couple will be way more introverted than the other.
Yeah, but we also have seen now doing this for 5 cohorts where we see some of the families at the same location, and some of the people have started out very introverted and consider themselves introverted, not really wanting to participate as much or talk as much, and they've since like really grown on a personal level and like flourished in this type of environment.
Yeah, self-admittedly, hey, I'm an introvert, I'm not going to participate a lot, and then all of a sudden you find them really digging into one of the activities and they get really into it and find connections that way.
Yeah, it's honestly been a beautiful thing to see. I think just like people just flourishing and developing personally through this whole Boundless experience. So I would say that if you're not a people person, that is a concern, right? You're going to be around people, and sometimes a lot, sometimes little, depending on your living situation and the location that you choose. And one of the reasons to do this is for community, but like I would say distinguish that between just being an introvert, because introverts tend to do really well here because the community is easy and it's kind of, you can pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah, you can definitely step away from activities and be like, I'm not going to participate this week, I have too much work going on, and then step back in when you're ready to participate more in the different community events.
Right, which is helpful. So, okay, number 3.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is language barriers.
You may think, hey, it's going to be really hard to live in this other country. We don't speak the language. But the truth is, if you just try a little bit and learn a few words, it goes a super long way with the different shopkeepers and people that you interact with on the streets.
It does. And let's be honest, like one of the reasons that you are traveling is to get that cultural experience. If you just want a vacation, go to an all-inclusive beach resort, right? I mean, if you're that worried about the language barrier, but you embrace it. I'm terrible at languages. Am I terrible at languages? I'm so terrible at languages.
You try very hard.
I try very hard. I'm terrible at languages though. Trying and being good at it is not the same thing. So, but I will say that like I just try to learn a couple words. We always have taught our kids learn a couple words. It goes a long way, especially with kids. Oh my gosh, like the kids walk in and say something in the local language. And
would you like some free cookies? Here are some free cookies. Thank you for learning my language.
Yeah, all the time, especially the more difficult ones like Greek or Serbian or whatnot. But learn a couple words and it goes a long way.
But generally, everywhere we've been with Boundless, there's so much English spoken. You're going to be able to get by on using English. It's not a valid fear that you're going to be stuck somewhere without being able to get by.
But there are times where less English is spoken.
Sure.
And that's part of the cultural experience. If you don't want that, don't come.
All right, let's get down to number 2.
Okay, number 2, safety. This is one we get all the time. It's one we hesitate talking about because we do feel like safety, if you've heard us on our other videos, we feel like it's a bit relative. It's like nowhere's completely safe. And so it's hard for us to be like, you're gonna be just fine, right? I think it's a valid concern, but I think it's a valid concern in your own town, your own city, your own country. And so I don't know that this is a boundless concern because our experience, we have never once felt unsafe in any boundless location. Never once.
Right.
And we've felt unsafe in different parts of the world traveling. We've never felt unsafe in one boundless location.
Yeah, and again, it's not to say that every location is so safe. That's not what it is. It's still, you need to be wise about it. You need to not be wandering the streets in the middle of the night. You need to not put yourself in difficult situations. But still, you could be driving down the street and have a car accident anywhere in the world. So we can't prevent all things by...
And there can be petty theft anywhere in the world, right? So you just kind of do your best to mitigate.
There's definitely a police siren right now in the background. First time I've heard a police siren since we got here.
And a fire truck. So perfect.
They must have heard us.
No, I have heard them before, but it's, I mean, even here we're here in Montenegro right now, and it's even safer than I thought it was going to be. Like, it feels even safer than I thought it was.
It feels really stable and secure.
Yeah, safe. You hesitate using the word safe. I hesitate using the word safe, but okay.
Hey, wait, before you get to this last one, is this whole video just a big clickbait? Because it seems like you're saying all the things that are not good about these boundless locations, but then you're saying all the things that are good about these boundless locations.
I think that there's both. There's validity in both, and you have to decide if it's a valid concern or not.
Yeah.
It's not for us to decide.
What's going to work for your family?
Yeah, because honestly, you can get our review and we're quite honest and tell it kind of how we see it, but that might not be how the next family sees it. It might not be how you will experience it. So you have to kind of take it all in.
Are they salivating, trying to get to number 1? What's the number 1 going to be? What's the number 1 reason to not go to a Boundless Life location?
Okay, the number 1 reason to not go to a Boundless Life location is if you and or your kids are jerks.
What?
I literally have nothing else to say. Just don't come.
It is true though. You have to have a positive energy if you want boundless experience to work for you and your kids and your family. If you walk in with a negative attitude, if you're got a chip on your shoulder, it's not going to work for you. You're not going to have fun. You're not going to bring positive environment to everybody around you. So you really need to go in with the right attitude. You need to be a little bit of a yes person to say, hey, I'm going to come into this and I'm going to have the best experience. I'm going to try new things. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to be open to all the experiences that Boundless has to offer me.
And that's when people truly flourish and shine and get the most out of Boundless, right? If you're going to pay this money, get the most out of it. So if you're somebody that's going to come in and feel negative and nitpicky about everything, or your kids are just jerks, just don't come.
It's as easy as that. Just don't show up.
This is a valid reason not to do Boundless. Okay, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, right? And this is
just an example. So I had never done Pilates before, but they have a Pilates class here that's included in your Boundless, in the Boundless activities. And so this morning I went and did Pilates. And
because
guess what?
you are not a jerk.
Because I said yes to the world around me.
This is not about saying yes, it's about if you're a jerk.
Are you calling me a jerk?
You are not a jerk.
Oh, okay.
But in all seriousness, yeah, I think that the more positivity that the families bring, the better the cohort is, the better the experience is for everyone. And that kind of becomes the difference between a cohort being thriving and a cohort being,
Yeah, because every cohort's different. And it's the vibe that each of the families bring to the table. So if you're going to go to a Boundless session, make sure to bring that positive energy, be a yes man, get ready for new experiences.
Or don't come.
Or just don't show up.
All right, on that note, we hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, let us know. You can send them to me, as always, on Instagram. I'll put our Instagram on here. If you decide it's your first time doing the Boundless Life location and you want a referral code, you can use our code. I will also put it on here for €600 off your first stay with Boundless. And if you decide that you are a jerk and you don't want to do Boundless, I hope that this video helped you to decide that also.
And that code helps you to get a discount on Boundless. It also gives us a discount towards our next Boundless stay. So appreciate that in advance. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, okay, signing off. If you have any questions, let us know.